Mr. Anurag Thakur, author, and Majid Hydari, political analyst, both of them joining us here on the broadcast. But Mr. Naidu, exactly what is the thought process of having new universities and schools? The education system would be the same, but it would be another angle as the twist the Congress party is citing, saying that this is for the girls because they had dropped out of those Karnataka colleges because there was a complete refusal of wearing hijabs.
I find it very funny, and I find it a pity, that we have to discuss this topic and also politicize this. And I don't want to name the political parties, but that's the last thing that we should be doing. I think the whole reason behind this is, when the hijab controversy started, the agitations in some of the schools were politically instigated. And then, Karnataka High Court gave some kind of a directive. And, from there, they want to just kind of, corner or maybe kind of polarize. Okay, there's one section and let's go and let's build our own colleges. But the whole idea is to put education on the top of anything else. And let's not polarize it. Let's not politicize it. Let's not also, communalize it. Education, let's keep it absolutely separate from your hijab or Islam as a tradition or a culture. So, but the most unfortunate thing is now political parties have also jumped the gun and they're also trying to make the use of the situation. And that is very apparent because when the High Court and the Karnataka state government was very clear on there is, I mean, of course, if there was some kind of a rules that was being broken by the state government that were being, there is some kind of a motive, a political motive behind the state government, the government of the day, then there could have been a, attempt. But what they're trying to do, even the issue has died down in Karnataka. I can tell you from the state, there is no issue.
Because it was a split verdict on part of the Supreme Court there. But Mr. Majid Hydari, is it about education or is it about segregation? What's the point exactly here?
Well, madam, it's a really heartwarming moment, and it's bang on moment on the idea of Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. And anybody who believes in the idea of Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao,
Betis can also study as far as the government institutions are also concerned. Wahan kisne mana kiya hai?
No, madam, it's a controversy book kind of an idea. Let's not politicize it or communalize it. Let's see that it's beyond controversy, that we want to come up with institutions which will provide education.
No, but how different is the education that is already being imparted in many of those institutions of colleges and schools? How different would be the education there?
At least they'll be allowed to wear the hijab or not hijab at their choice, which is their fundamental right. So at least their fundamental rights won't be curbed there. It's much in line with the Constitution.
But even despite the split ruling, as far as the earlier Karnataka High Court ruling is concerned, that will still be put into place? No, sir. Mr. Naidu, because here it is being said that the lands and funds that will be provided by the Waqf board. Will the Karnataka government here have a say or not?
Yeah, the problem here is, look, the problem here is if we were only talking about education outright, we had no problem. Nobody should have any problem with a pure education-based institution. But the people who are backing this, and you have seen it on your screen, people who are supporting this move are clearly saying that it is a result of the hijab controversy. The hijab, girl students wearing hijab are not being allowed. So that's why we want to have a new institution. So this narrative is a problem. If it is education, we all support that. We all stand for that. Why not? Why should we restrict to 10 schools and colleges? Let's go about 100 and 1,000 schools and colleges. No problem there. But the problem is, let's not link it with anything like a hijab or any other thing which is more religious in nature.
So that's what I asked Mr. Hydari. Is it about education or is it about segregation? Those who will be allowed to wear hijabs or not, it is ultimately the woman's choice, isn't it? And when it comes to such kind of Sharia schools, what exactly is the motive and the reasoning behind it?
Madam, the idea is to take education out of any controversy, and it's really heartwarming, really appreciable for every Indian. It's not about religious ideology, communal ideology.
Then how is it different from the education already being imparted in other schools and colleges? How is it different? What different education, what different studies will be taught in these schools, sir?
Madam, at least there won't be any kind of a psychological threat to the people who want to wear hijab or don't want to wear hijab. We have seen what happened with Muskan. So we don't want
to ultimately it will be the rule of the law that will be followed, no sir.
Wearing or not wearing hijab.
It will be actually what has been said by the court, it will be followed, no sir. Unlike what the Sharia schools, what you are claiming is a heartwarming attempt, it will be ultimately the court orders that needs to be followed, no sir. Mr. Hydari.
it Sharia school. Let's call it secular schools.
How will it be secular schools? Right. Mr. S. Prakash is also with us here on the broadcast. Let me just quickly get in a word from him. Mr. S. Prakash, is this segregation or education that will be imparted as far as the Karnataka Waqf Board, this new move is concerned, of setting up specialized schools and colleges for students?
No, setting up a school and colleges for one particular religion is not acceptable. It is not a good decision, because we will be discriminating between the people. When we believe in secularism, there should not be any discrimination on religious basis in any college. Admission should be open to everyone. I hope the Karnataka Waqf Board will realize this, and they will not go ahead with this project by making it only for Muslim students.
Right, but Mr. Prakash, would the Karnataka government have a say in this or not? Because the Waqf Board, they say they plan to open up such schools and colleges with its own funding.
No, whatever the Waqf functions under the Karnataka government only. It needs to take the permission of the education department. They are not independent entity. And I am sure the Karnataka government will not permit these colleges exclusively meant for the Muslim students. I am not against that, but it should be open for all. Whatever the dress code they prescribe is a welcome.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Prakash, for joining us here on the broadcast. Yes, Mr. Majid Hydari, because what is being said by the Karnataka Waqf Board chairman is that these institutions will be allowed to wear hijab to classes, unlike the government schools and colleges. Is it just about the hijab controversy here?
Madam, the BJP government in Karnataka is not about Article 26, 27 and 28 of the Indian Constitution, which in particular emphasizes that minority of any religion can come up with their institutions, be it religion or social or educational. So Karnataka government has no locus standi to say we won't allow it. And when it goes with the idea of Honorable Prime Minister saying that Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, why should we be attackers all over it? It's appreciated that now Muslims are investing in education. All the time you say invest in madrasa.
Then
now
don't call it secular schools, no sir. Then don't call it secular schools. You're contradicting your own point of view. Yes, Mr. Naidu.
Madam, Muslims have always been secular here. Please don't say.
Yeah, I have a very small question. Look.
Yes, Mr. Naidu.
To my fellow panelists, I have a very small question. If it was not for hijab or any other religious reason, can you tell me one reason why there is a proposal to open 10 schools? Is Karnataka short of schools and colleges? Is Karnataka short of fine education institution? It is one of the best states in India when it comes to the higher education, school education and colleges. So are we short of schools and colleges? So let's make it clear and let's tell the government, hey, look, we don't have enough schools and colleges. That's why we are going. So what is the core reason for starting this? And it is a public that is asking. I'm not saying from a government standpoint. I think it's also for the public to understand, because yes, if this is a school, let's not make it a religious school. The people from other community should also be allowed, and I think there should be an absolute open environment. But what is the core reason and what is the core objective of starting this?
Absolutely, but also regarding the strict verdicts that came in on part of the Supreme Court in view of dissenting views, the matter which has now been referred to the Chief Justice of India for constituting an appropriate bench. But it was an extensive hearing that happened in the case that witnessed almost 24 lawyers arguing over a spectrum of issues on behalf of the girl students, Islamic bodies, right-wing groups, lawyers and activists. Remains to be seen exactly what next step would be taken by the Karnataka government in this regard. For the moment, Mr. Hydari, Mr. Naidu, thanks very much for joining in. You're watching Times Now.